It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
It's your weekly automotive show. Time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes. I'm Nick Miles, and you're listening to America's Automotive Radio Show, keeping you connected with the automotive world, locally created, nationally celebrated. This morning, we'll review cars that we've been driving. I've been driving the most perfect car ever. We'll find out all about it. I can tell you there's nothing wrong with it. Do you want to take a driving course? You can find out June 3rd. There is a driving course coming up. We're going to tell you all about that. Honda's back in the truck game. Find out about their new Ridgeline. And did you know Eugene it is the base for an electric car company? We'll talk to the founder and owner about that car company. Ryan's here with his Afterglow project. He's been testing some product for us this week. Well, this week was kind of an unfortunate week because we lost a gentleman who was iconic in the car industry. He passed away, and we have a strong connection with him because it was Brad's dad. So we wanted to give Brad a few minutes to reflect on the life of a man who was pretty incredible in the local car world.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, Nick. Sign me up for his life. He lived to 84, traveled the world, did everything he did, got to meet race car drivers and everybody else. Lived a similar life to you at this point. So if you lived to 84, I'm checking that off.
I think I've spent most of my good years. I'm burnt out.
Yeah, so my dad, Big Bill, as he was referred to by everybody, was for a long time head of the Portland Automotive Trades Association, then the executive director for the Oregon Automotive Parts Association, and he was also editor and publisher of Automotive News of the Northwest. He was a member of the Northwest Auto Trade Association. And a funny story, at one point with Automotive News of the Northwest, he got a call in the mid-'70s from Keith Crane from Automotive News, the big national publication. Keith said, "Hey, what's the big idea using our name?" And my dad said, "What's the date on your masthead?" And he said, 1925. He says, "Well, ours is 1919. What do you want to do now?" He says, "I'll get back to you." We never heard from the Cranes again.
Funny.
So, but he was also, volunteered for everything church and just super involved. Took me to my first car launch, which was the AMC Eagle at the Memorial Coliseum. So
that was in the 20s.
Yeah. No. But, I think Jen and I were talking kind of like a policeman's kid or a fireman's kid. If your dad's in the car business, you tend to gravitate toward that. So I do have to blame him for most all of my choices that I've made.
Oh, so that's why you've worked really hard to make sure none of your kids get in the car business. Oh, right. You failed with one of them,
my one's traveling on the road with auto shows, but he was an avid listener of the show, and he taught Dale Carnegie forever. So he would review the show every week and would say, "You did a good job. No wasted words. Well done." So excellent. No uhs and as and stuff. But he was a great example that it's tough to live up to, but, introduced me to all sorts of great car people and passionate collectors. And so I do blame him.
It's all his fault.
Normally it is.
It's all his fault. Well, I'm sorry for your loss, but I'm also happy to celebrate a pretty well-lived life.
A very well-lived life, absolutely.
Good on you, Brad, and Godspeed him wherever he shall be driving. I'm sure it's in 6th gear as he goes. Let's talk a little bit about what you can check out as far as the show is concerned. If you have Facebook up, why don't you just pull it up there and go to the Nick J. Miles page. You can actually see live studio. We're also on Twitter as well. As it would be Periscope, you can see the show live. The difficulty that this presents is that we always have to be careful what we say in the break because, it's like anything else on TV. Once you think the mics are off, you start to let loose a little bit. The Cascade Sports Car Club began its life in 1953 as a four-cylinder sports car club of Oregon with a total membership of 15 people. Now they have grown to 350 members. Joining us in studio is Vincent Vavorowski. Vincent is with the club, and you have a driving school coming up, don't you?
Yes, we do. This Friday, actually, June 3rd. And, we do a ground school the night before. And then we spend majority of the day on Fridays. Or if you're lucky to have a Saturday school. out on track with an instructor, and you try to learn the limits of your vehicle in a safe environment.
So this is a track-based school, and
Yes, it
then
is.
when you come out of the school, you end up being a great driver. Is that the plan?
Well, that's what we strive for. Well, it's mainly something if we can teach you better car control and understanding the signs that your car is trying to give you, saying, oh, by the way,
Right.
we're going to spin here.
Right.
And that's what we're after.
Everybody thinks they're a great track driver, and I have plenty of journalists. I have lists of them, journalists who think they're great. And I'm one of the most honest people in the world. I'm a mediocre to best track driver. Although I've met some guys that think they're great track drivers, and I end up having to pass them on the track when we do track days, those type of things. So when you do this really is just an introduction to the track.
Pretty much, yeah. We do it in stages. So we have a class base. If you've never been on track before, that's your novice, and so we're going through basic car control issues. Everything from hand positions, when you're shifting, shift points, brake points,
when you
turning
see
points.
that corner, turn the wheel. That sort of thing.
Yes. We try to set up a little bit of a communications system before we actually get out on track. Generally, actually, with the novices, we start the day with a tour, where actually the student rides in their car with the instructor driving at a slow pace.
So that means you bring in your own car.
Yes, the students will bring their own vehicles.
So what sort of vehicle qualifies? Because I have a Suburban. Would that work?
Suburban might be a little bit,
Especially if it's a 6-inch lift. But we should try it.
We'll put the training wheels on that.
So you're looking for sports cars, really?
Yeah, generally sports cars or sedans. Tons of sedans. I mean, we've had everything out there from Subaru Foresters. We've had a Prius. We've had Teslas out there. Though they have a difficult time double stinting, with 2 drivers making it throughout the full day. But I'll tell you what, they are extremely fast and fun to watch.
So then there's a couple of questions. It costs money, clearly.
Yes, it does.
So what's the price of coming to the school?
Currently, I think our prices are right at $225 for all-day novice. If you're only doing an HPD, so say you've got some track day experience documented, then the price for an HPD is a little bit less. It's $195 for the day. Again, that's 4 20-minute sessions, if not longer 30-minute sessions out on track.
But if I want to just come and watch, I can just basically sit in the stands and watch it go on?
It's free to the public to come out and watch, take pictures, whatever you want to do. We have a lot of photographers that come out.
And if I want to sign up to take part in the class, how do I do that?
Motorsports Reg is the best way. Well, I think now it's almost the only way. Get on motorsportsreg.com and look up Cascade Sports Car Club, or if they have little things on the side there, little icons you can click on for if you just want to do a track day or schools, and that'll come up.
Tell me, what else does the club do apart from teach people how to drive on you have regular meetings and
Yeah, we meet first Saturday of every month at Stark Street Pizza on Stark. Generally they start at 7:30 in the evening on Saturday.
Does it turn into like a free car show? Everyone bringing their cars down there.
Sometimes in the summer you might see a few nice rides. Otherwise, no, mostly because we are more of a race group or a rally group.
Right.
No, you'll see a lot of tow vehicles. Eventually, or I should say, every once in a while, a lot of people will bring their Miatas or whatever, their street Miata. But no, it's just you see a lot of bench racing.
And it's just definitely, if you're a sports car person, it's definitely a fun club to be involved in. How do we find out more about the club? Not just does the race days. Does the club have a contact website or a phone number or somewhere if somebody wants to get more involved in the club that they can?
Yeah, we are on Facebook as well as Instagram, and we also have CascadeSportsCarClub.org that you can go to again, or you can always find us on. Find out about the events and just come on out and talk to anybody at one of the events. We try to be family oriented with our activities. We're huge into charitable, local charities, children's charities, whether it be Dornbecker or the transitional school. here in Portland. So we do a lot around with PIR in trying to keep it as a city park.
Sean had a question.
Yeah, well, I don't have a question. I just have an experience. I've taken this class before, and it's such a great deal for people who actually want to get out there and learn what to do with their vehicle, because they do more than just teach you how to drive. They teach you where to look on the road, and like Vincent said, how your car actually responds and feeling. And I recommend it for anybody who wants to actually get out and learn their vehicle. It's a great experience.
Last question for you, Vince. So you have something called the First Friday Rally.
Yeah. Our rally group, we have Friday nighters. It's usually the first Friday of every month during the summertime. And I think it's like $20. And they do a 3-hour rally roughly wherever around the Portland metro area. And then they have a couple of large rallies throughout the year. They do Mountains to the Sea and whatnot, which is a great rally. But I've done a couple of the rallies. I've worked them, I should say. Up into Vancouver or Battleground, down to Salem area, and it's great. I mean, it's twists and turns and trying to get the clues depending on the type of rally. It's actually pretty impressive.
Excellent. Well, we'll find out more about it, and if anyone out there takes the course, and please let us know. We'd like to hear how they did on the course too, as well. And might enjoy that rally over the weekend or on the Friday night. That sounds like a whole bunch of fun.
I would love to have you guys come on out for that. That
Excellent.
would be great.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Vince, for coming in, and thanks for being a fan of the show. We always enjoy your comments on Facebook and Twitter. It keeps us well entertained. Coming up on the show, we're going to review some cars. We're going to find out about Toyota's, find out about Honda's brand new truck, which they have just launched, and an electric car company based right here in Oregon. This is Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles. Stay connected with the automotive world. Starting this Saturday, by the way, if you grabbed yesterday's Oregonian, this is probably the first you've heard about this, but I'm now writing for the Oregonian. So you could have read my Hyundai Elantra review yesterday in the Oregonian. Jen, fun fact time.
First fun fact, according to Wikipedia, the fastest quarter mile for a production car without any modifications was in 2011 by the Bugatti Veyron Supersport. The time was 9.7 seconds, and only 30 of them were produced.
All right, Sean, what have you been driving this week?
I drove the Toyota Avalon, and the Avalon has some cool little safety features like pedestrian safe now, where it looks out for body shapes in the road and will make sure you won't hit them. So good thing for city and people who just can't see really well. Also has a 3.5 liter.
Can't see really well. I don't think you should be driving.
Well, Brad drives, and
Oh, pow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
he's talking about his glasses just 2 seconds ago and how he needs an extra pair. So it comes with a 3.5 liter V6 engine that has 268 horsepower. Gets around 24 miles to the gallon, has some stiff competition with the Chevy Impala, Buick LaCrosse, Ford Taurus, and Chrysler 300. Comes in 8 trim levels. Some driving impressions is I do like with the steering how it's super soft and easy to steer in the city. And if you want to get on it, it does stiffen up and gives you more of a sports feel. One of the good things is it has a power mat that I love. I think every car needs a power mat to throw your cell phone on because, one, it gives you a spot to put your cell phone. It also charges it. The only bad was it's for smaller phones. I have a Samsung S5 and I had to...
Note 5.
Note 5, thank you. But it's like I had to position my phone funny just to get it to work because it wouldn't sit in the holder just right. Starting price is $32,000 and you can get it up to $40,000.
Excellent. And for many years, Toyota owned the small truck segment with the Tacoma. GM came along to the market a couple of years ago with the Canyon, Colorado. And now Honda are entering the segment with a new truck. My friend and PR manager for Honda, Davis Adams, joins us on the phone. Davis, tell me, why is Honda getting into the truck market?
First of all, good morning, Nick. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So I'm excited to be here. The Ridgeline, as you know, is all new. We've had a first generation model came out in 2006, and that carried through to about 2014. We've had a 2-year break. but it's new again for 2017, and it goes on sale around this time next month. And it's a big deal for us because the Honda Ridgeline is unique in the segment. It's the only truck in the industry that's a unibody platform. That means that rather than being kind of the old school ladder frame platform that you see in a lot of traditional trucks, and really every vehicle that's been built since the early, or every truck that's been built since the early 1900s, it's more of a unibody platform like the crossover SUVs that your consumers are driving today. So it drives a lot more like a car on the street, but without any compromise to its off-road abilities out in the dirt.
Now, I haven't driven one yet, but I've heard some good reports. It starts under $30,000, but it also gets great gas mileage as well.
Yeah, so it's actually best in class. We're excited about that. We get as much as 26 miles per gallon on the highway, which is great for a truck. And that's, we offer two platforms. There's also industry exclusive. There's a front wheel drive version of this truck available. And then, of course, there's the all wheel drive across the board for the entire lineup.
Now, the one thing I remember from the Super Bowl was your advertisement with the singing sheep who sang the Queen song. You have speaker beds in the back of this truck. I mean, at the time, I was thinking, I'm not sure that's why people buy a truck, but maybe the sheep like the speaker beds. That's a sort of a unique thing on this truck. But the other thing I've heard about it is that the safety features pretty unparalleled in this vehicle compared to some of the other competitors in the same segment.
Yeah, so we have a lot of kind of industry exclusive features on the vehicle. So like you said, it does have the embed speakers on the top trim, and really we call them exciters because it's not really a speaker as much as it's the magnet portion of a speaker mounted to the inside of the bed that uses the bed itself as speaker cone. So what's nice about it is that it's waterproof, it's weatherproof, it's dirt and dust proof, unlike a traditional speaker that would wear with the weather. And we also have an in-bed trunk, which is really cool, and the tailgate itself drops down like a traditional tailgate, but also swings out, which really makes this truck easy to access and also an amazing tailgating vehicle. In terms of the technology that you're talking about, we're the only truck in the business that has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We're also the only truck in the segment that offers the full suite of kind of Honda Sensing adaptive driver's aids that allow the vehicle to use adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist, and it'll really help the driver get the truck down the road with some active safety features.
All right, well, so the price, $29,000. I like the fact that the rear seats fold up and you can put a bicycle in the back as well. That's kind of fun. Davis, always a pleasure to talk to you. When am I going to be able to test drive this?
This time next month, if not a little bit before. I plan on having a truck in your fleet very soon. All
right, I'm going to look forward to it. And next time I'm down in Southern California, drinks are on me, okay?
All right, I look forward to it.
All right, Davis Adams from Honda about the new Ridgeline. Excited to drive this. I think it's going to take a lot of that segment up. This is Test Miles. Coming up, we're going to talk about Oregon's very own car company. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
Sunday morning, if you'd like to see more about cars and test drives, check out Coin 6 News. You can see my latest car reviews there on the weekend.
Our next fun fact is magnetic ride control was first used by General Motors in the Cadillac Seville STS in 2002 and is now used for standard suspension on many models for Cadillac, Buick, and Chevrolet.
Brad, what have you been driving this week?
Well, I had a chance to get a week into a car I'd spent a couple of hours in on a song and dance up here, but the new 2016 Passat, the Volkswagen. And it's competing in a really tough segment, that mid-size sedan market, with the Camry, the Fusion, the Optima, and all those things. And they have made some dynamic changes for 2016 with this vehicle, certainly in styling. And the front end is one thing I really like, much, much more attractive, sophisticated looking. So it's got two engines, obviously no TDI for this vehicle anymore. So it's got the 170 horsepower, 1.8 liter turbo. Gets 38 miles per gallon on the freeway, so that's pretty impressive. And then they also have the top of the line, the 3.6 liter V6, 280 horsepower. 4 trim levels, S, SE, SEL, and then the R line. So the big ups, and there are a lot of them with this car, styling, of course, much more attractive. The tech, VW CarNet, much better in that vehicle than a lot of the other ones. Safety features, especially efficient and maybe overly efficient, is the lane departure. I found it a little too intrusive on some occasions, but I did get to treat Cade to the hands-free driving down the freeway with cruise control and all. So you could see how it all worked.
Wait.
He thought that was...
Oh, I see. He wasn't driving.
No, he wasn't
he's
driving.
7.
He was in the back seat,
Okay,
saying, "Dad, get your hands on the wheel."
It's just getting a little bit scary there.
But the bad was I didn't find that front seat as comfortable as I found some of the other Volkswagens. It was just a little uncomfortable and couldn't quite get positioned right. But if that's the worst thing you can find in a car, that's not too bad. It was nice. The ghost price is $23,300 up to $37,000.
I just drove the VW Dune, by the way, too, which is one of my favorite VWs. Well, we can talk about that some other time. The Eugene, Oregon-based company builds 3-wheel electric vehicles designed to carry 2 people from place to place with small environmental impact. Akimoto means Future I Drive and was founded in 2007. And joining us on the phone is Mike Frohnmeyer. You are the founder, president, and CEO. Oh, apparently we lost him off the phone. He was on vacation, but we can tell you a little bit about that while we try to get him back on the phone. Mark put together this company in Eugene to build these electric cars. Now, they look very motorcycle-based, and we were absolutely stunned when we saw these vehicles, these little 2-seater electric vehicles. I think they have a future at 70 miles an hour, and they have about a 70-mile range. And the fact is, these guys are based in Eugene, Oregon, which is kind of fun.
And they're not priced at $30,000 to $40,000.
I don't know about that part. that could be the downfall of these particular vehicles.
I looked at them. I thought their starting price was like 10 or 12 grand. They were pretty cheap, weren't they? I just looked online.
We should go and have another look online. Anyway, we wanted to get Mark on the phone, and he's on vacation in Florida, and he didn't actually manage to answer his phone. So the kind of cool thing about the idea of these is that you could do your running around town, but the biggest problem is what happens when you want to take a whole bunch of stuff from Home Depot. That would be my kind of issue too.
That and... its range again was about 70 miles. Is that right?
70 miles, 70 to 80 miles.
Top speed of 80 miles an hour. But is this a vehicle you really want to pop onto I-5 and?
No, but I
shoot
don't
down
think
the road?
it's for that
It's
sort
not
of
for
thing.
that. It's for
like,
living in the Pearl and doing your running around.
Even maybe so if you're on the farm and you want to just head down to the grocery store, or you just want to take the kid to school or that sort of thing.
And would they qualify for the tax credits, do you think?
Well, I think if it's an electric vehicle, it definitely qualifies for the tax credit. So why don't you just tell me? Oh, tell me, Jen. Yeah, okay, all right. Apparently, he was on holiday was spending some holiday time.
Well, a lot of things go south in Florida, so we don't know for sure.
Let me. I'm going to take this opportunity to talk to you a little bit about the car I've been driving this week. It's just the Cadillac CT6. It's this, by the way. I always have no trouble in finding cars something wrong with it. At least one thing wrong with the car. This is the first car I've ever driven that I cannot find a single thing wrong with. And I honestly have really tried. So the Cadillac CT6 is this sort of weird size of vehicle. It's somewhere between a BMW 5 Series and 7 Series. It's kind of in between, not quite a 6, size. It's Cadillac's, I would say, the first vehicle since they have had their rebirth, since they moved to New York. It's been many years in development, but this thing is absolutely amazing, even from the fact that you can record in the car everything that goes on outside the vehicle.
Oh,
You can just hit a button, and if you're driving somewhere and there's some guy in front of you that you think this guy's going to hit me or he's going to cause an accident, hit that button and you can just record what goes on in the car. It has the Cadillac, the moving of the seats, the vibrating of the seats. So as soon as things happen, like you get over the line on cruise control, it does that bzzz in your and sometimes I just go over the line because that part's really fun.
I think that's called your bum.
Yes, your bum. The other thing is it has the dash, the same as similar to Audi's dash, where they have the electronic dash. There is no gauges on the inside.
So is it really hand sensitive? You've got to swipe, you've got to do a lot of that, or are there actual some knobs of any sort?
There are knobs. There are knobs to change things. There isn't a volume button, but yeah, that's on the steering wheel to do that. But Cadillac has made the screen really big and really easy to touch and very intuitive. It's the same. It's a huge screen on the inside, really beautifully put together. They've even done little things like made a cell phone holder, which I know that the Ram Rebel has in it too, but a cell phone holder where your cell phone actually slots into the holder so you can actually see the cell phone, but it's held specially in place and it takes any size. The one thing I thought I was going to have a problem with is there's no cigarette lighter. Now, and I'm not
I think
talking,
they like to call those chargers now.
right, they call them chargers, the old style cigarette lighters. And so plugging it in, there is one in the back. So I had to plug it in the back and bring it forward, but it's a USB.
So I talked to Shad about this because we're trying to find replacements for the town car for Lucky Limousine.
Right.
Is this big enough in the back seat to accommodate that?
I mean, the back seats, it's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic put together. To get me out of the car, you have to fight me to do that.
I'm much bigger than you. That's doable.
It is?
Yeah.
But I can run faster again, though. the getting in, I mean, and the quality of the materials, they put this together. They spent a long time when they made the CT6 in designing the frame so they could put aluminum rods in the frame and lengthen the vehicle so you could make it into limos easily without having to weld a new piece of body in. So the vehicle has kind of a rod and pin version, and it will just slide out all the way, and you can actually make it into a long limousine style car.
That is different than the new Lincoln, than the Continental, because that's only coming in one size.
Right.
That's a worldwide size vehicle.
And the absolute idea of this is that you could do it. It comes in rear-wheel drive, which is one of the things that worries me about the Lincoln only coming in front-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive, 31 miles a gallon for a full-size sedan, American sedan. I mean, that's to me amazing. 31 miles a gallon. Its competition is pretty stiff in the German segment, especially the Audi. They have the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, the BMW 5 or 7. It's kind of in between those. Maserati Quattroporte, the Jaguar XJ, and the Lexus LS. It has a total of 9 trim levels, so you can get it designed out how you want it. The color combinations and the leather and the materials on the inside, great. Even in the center stack, the speaker, when you turn the sound system on, it is absolutely great, by the way. You turn it on and it comes up. On the way to the studio this morning, I wanted to call Jan. And so, the problems that I have all the time with voice activation. So as soon as I say anything to a car, it completely misunderstands my accent. And so I pressed it and I said, call Jennifer Jenkins. And the second I did, it gave me 2 options to call her, and it was the same number, but it says, would you like to call number 1 or 2 on my screen? Called it. What your navigation system you get in the middle appears on the front. It has a HUD system, so a heads-up display on it as well, which is not just your speed. It gives you direction, tells you if your lane departure warning, has active cruise control. I was even standing in the parking lot the other day, and as I was going forward in the parking lot, some guy started to walk out from between a car. The car vibrated my seat and pointed to where there was somebody going to walk out in front of me, and before I could actually physically see him.
Wow.
And the best part of it, this is really difficult because Ryan rode in the car with me. It doesn't have a rear view mirror. It has a camera instead. And the camera is projected onto a screen where you see the rear view mirror. Now, this is the strangest thing about this is it does have a flip. You can flip it. You can flip the switch so you can see a mirror instead. But the camera gives you a 180-degree view. So I can see the same that I can see on my side mirrors in the camera. But it's kind of weird, isn't it, right? It gives you it to look at it. You feel the first few times you look at this camera, which is there instead of a mirror, it feels a little queasy because, you can put your finger up against it, how you would see your finger. When I look to check if I have any hair sticking out my nose, I can't see it anymore in that mirror. I actually, luckily enough,
Just assume so.
Luckily, I pull down the sun visor and I can actually, it has a mirror.
So
behind the sun visor.
I can be able to see in the back seat, see if my kids are misbehaving. Or
Yeah, you
something
could
like that.
just flip the switch and it turns into a mirror.
Again, I just assume so.
Yeah. Well, and two, the only biggest problem is the seats are so big at the back that you would have to lean. I don't think you could reach the kids' legs to slap them. That might be an issue for you. If they were behaving badly and you need to spank a few knees, you know,
that's right.
I think they're too far back to be able to do that.
Oh, they do that to each other. So that's okay.
They poke each other in each other's
So I'm
face.
gonna go out on a limb here. You liked this vehicle.
I would give this vehicle a 10 out of 10. This is the best vehicle that Cadillac has ever made. And I will tell you, they've said for years they're coming back. This is the Cadillac that's coming back. I can't see any fault in it. The only fault, I mean, there's always two faults to every car, right? I don't have one and I don't own one. Price starts at $53,000, not too bad. Goes up to $87,500, depending on what model you want.
That's still not too bad against its competition.
Exactly. I mean, you're talking about maybe an S-Class about 20,000 more. All right, when we come back, more Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
All right, from my Test Miles studio, this is America's Car Radio Show with Length. Thank you for being part of the Car Nation. For more fun facts about car, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and our Test Miles website. And by the way, we're live right now on my Facebook page. You can see the back of my head. I got a really nice haircut, by the way. You could see that if you want to look on Facebook.
Last fun fact of the day. What are women driving in 2016? Well, according to news, they drive smaller cars under $20,000. The first one is a Hyundai Tucson, Nissan Versa, Volkswagen Beetle, Kia Forte, and Ford Fiesta.
I didn't realize that the Hyundai Tucson, 66.2% of those are bought by women. So now we know the answer that man has been chasing for the last 1,000 years. What do women want? Apparently, it's a Hyundai Tucson.
I actually have one outside right now, and it's this pretty blue color.
We're going to leave that right there. Sure, we're not going to take that any further too. By the way, I just finished this tour of California on the best cars to drive for a spring road trip, and I chose 4 cars to do it. One of them was the RAV4 Hybrid. Just really impressed with that at 34 miles a gallon in the city. We're talking about a small SUV. It's a really good gas mileage. We chose the Beetle Dune because it's actually based on the Golf platform. But this thing is just so much fun. And it was the first time I've really used Android Auto. Obviously people use Apple CarPlay a lot, but Android Auto, it's going to make such a difference to all of these car systems. I mean, plugging my phone in and just hitting the microphone button and then just telling it what you want. It's the same as talking to your phone.
And it doesn't take you to a fish and chip place every time?
Well, if I ask it to, it does, yes. And you know me, it's fish and chips every day. And then I chose the Mini convertible, the brand new Mini convertible. That thing, by the way, if you haven't driven one, that is an absolute lot of fun. And finally, the BMW 7 Series. And the thing that impressed most people in the new 7 Series is you can choose the smell of the interior cabin. It has programmable smells. And you can take your hands off the steering wheel up to 15 seconds, and it will actually steer for you between the lines and from the car in front. You can reach back and slap the kids' legs in the back if you need to.
Get in the back seat.
Well, I wouldn't recommend that. I think if you undo your seatbelt or something, it probably come to a complete stop.
So 3 smaller vehicles and then 1 big sedan.
Yeah, and well, the RAV4 Hybrid is mid sort of. It's just, they call it a compact SUV, or CUV, but it's five-seater. The Mini's technically a 4, and so is the Dune, although you have to be pretty small to be comfortable in the back seats of those.
So you liked it in the back?
I enjoyed it sitting in the back, although I'm often in the driver's seat of those cars as well too. And I'm also, one of the things I've been doing is driving the CX-9, the new car from Mazda. Boy, they have done a job with that car. They've done such an amazing job, and I'll tell you why. They're going up against the luxury boys at the top end. So they're staying where the smaller cars are, where the non-luxury cars are, but they put a lot of luxury into that car. I want to let you know there's a charity event going on today between now and 3 p.m., a car wash for the Rosevilla Retirement located on McLaughlin Boulevard, and Courtney is down there washing cars. So if you need your car washed, few people in this room I could point out that probably need their car wash should be heading down there. We will be back next week with more test miles too. Ryan, what have you been testing? You got 30 seconds. Go.
I've been testing out Mother's Vinyl Leather Rubber Cleaner. It's an interior cleaner that I love. Just again, it's another Mother's product, so you can't go wrong with them.
All right. Mother's always good products. We'll be back next week. Test Miles 24/7 at testmiles.com. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.